Hola, kitty cats, and welcome to Tastemaker, the show where we make meals out of movies. I'm your host, Harrison Richland, and on today's episode, our pairing aims to bring a little spice to your life, a little zest to your chest, and a little wow to your meow. That's right, we are covering the soulful animated epic, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and preparing for you a very special tapas meal inspired by the character's Spanish roots. Serving as a sequel to 2011's Puss in Boots, itself a spin-off from the popular Shrek film series, The Last Wish picks up on our furry hero at the height of his public celebrity, as well as his own self-importance. Not only does he hold little regard for those around him outside of their adoration, but his willingness to chase dangers suggests a lack of concern for even his own life. Or lives, that is. The Last Wish also expands on the classic Dreamworks animation style.
Hey, you want to see something cool?
Not only drawing on a more painterly fairy tale aesthetic, but a number of influences, from heightened spaghetti western pastiche to the kind of action sequencing normally associated with anime. This sense of variety is part of what makes not only this film so special, but this meal as well. For those of you who don't know, tapas isn't any one particular dish, but instead an assortment of snacks or appetizers typically served with alcohol. For our specific platter, we're going to be using some sweet red peppers, some marinated anchovies, some manzanilla olives, and then the wishing star of the show will be our jamón and manchego croquettes. For our drink, we're going to be making some nice, delicious sangria. If you're making this with kids, maybe you use, instead of wine, a grape juice base with a little orange juice, or you could just give them regular sangria and see what happens. That's what they did in the 70s. Anyway, let's get started with our drink. We're going to be looking for a nice, fruity red. It's a beautiful sight. Just makes you think of mom, right? Brandy. I'm not big for measurements, just kind of eyeball it. That looks good. Triple sec. Some cinnamon sticks here for that spice. We're going to throw that in, but now the most important ingredients. Well, alcohol is pretty important, but this one, the fruit's pretty vital here as well. We're going to use some nice orange slices. Clear these out of the way so you can see better. Some apple. Last bit, lemon. All right, you can also add some honey if you want, just to sweeten it up, or some other kind of sugar. Some people like to add their ice with the wine. It's best poured over. The whole chilling process, right now, this is gonna go in the fridge. That's what it's meant to cool it down. Now, right away, this drink should be getting you in an animated mood, which is exactly where you want to be as we start talking about Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. This film is perhaps best described as a feast for the eyes. The style on display is not only incredibly detailed and vibrant, but on such a grand scale that often it makes the original Shrek series that inspired it kind of small by comparison. It's the kind of sequel that stands on its own, much like our titular hero at the start of this story. Puss has always prided himself on his mythic stature, and in case you didn't already know that, we get a killer musical opening to remind us.
Who is your favorite fearless hero? Who is your favorite fearless hero?
Despite taking down a giant forest monster and saving a whole village, our favorite fearless hero has reached a point in his journey where fairy tale must meet reality.
Puss in Boots. How do I say this? You died.
After discovering he's used up 8 of his 9 lives, Puss relinquishes his devil-may-care bravado for a more subdued routine. That is until he discovers the existence of a magic wishing star that could grant him a new lease on his lives.
That star has one wish to grant.
One wish.
Think of what that could mean for us.
9 lives.
Only thing standing in his way? Goldilocks and the Three Bears, Big Jack Horner, his former fiancée Kitty Softpaws, and death itself in the form of a bounty-hunting wolf. A major aspect of the film is how our lives are only as meaningful as the friends and family we surround ourselves with. So while this may be Puss's tapas platter, each piece of it will honor another one of his companions, starting with Kitty's croquettes. For the filling, we are using most importantly jamon serrano and manchego cheese. We're gonna start off cooking at the stove with some olive oil, about 3 tablespoons of butter. Once all of this is melted down, we're gonna throw in our flour. It's gonna get pretty sandy, so we're gonna throw in our milk and smooth it up a bit before we add our jamon and our manchego. Stir it up with a nice wooden spoon, throw in a dash of nutmeg, and then put this in an 8x8 pan with some parchment paper. Throw it in the fridge. Before we start prepping our croquettes, you're going to want to whisk up 2 eggs and throw together some panko crumbs or breadcrumbs in a bowl. Now would be a great point to get your kids involved too if they enjoy cooking. I would get my own daughter to help out, but she's got other interests. Easiest way to do this is by forming these into balls, but if you want to have a little fun with it, you can take this kind of cookie dough, weird mashed potato kind of paste, roll it up, press your fingers in, and make them into little kitties. Obviously, you know, not the best. Maybe you could use a toothpick to form a little face and whiskies. But for expediency, we're just gonna do this little kitty right here. And yeah, dip it into the egg, cover it in that panko, and there you go. Little kitty. These are gonna go in the fridge, again, for another 30 minutes. Just as each layer of these croquettes takes time to come together, it's only through experiencing the losses and mistakes Puss has endured that he's actually able to appreciate the value of life. Perhaps the standout character of the film, and the one to really teach him this lesson, is an extremely friendly yet previously abused chihuahua Puss named Perrito. Perrito is pure optimism, enthusiasm, basically what many might consider a straight-up weirdo.
Is he deranged?
Yep.
At the same time, Perrito continues to prove himself invaluable, not only helping Puss and Kitty evade physical harm, but also coming to Puss's aid during a panic attack. With only one life to spare, Puss has become paralyzed by the fear of death. This feels so foreign to him, as danger is always something he's felt called to run towards, not away from. And even though he has the chance to be granted more lives by the wishing star, this idea that death will constantly be at his heels strikes a change in a character that we've come to know as somewhat selfish and uncaring. Now, just as Puss needs to go through this transformation in order to reach his full potential, the last step in bringing these croquettes to their full potential is heating them in hot oil until golden brown. You can use vegetable oil or canola oil, and make sure to have a clean wire rack nearby for when they're done. As those are cooling down, we're going to make a little sauce to pair them with called Perrito's Pimenton Aioli. This is a really simple mix of mayo, garlic, lemon juice, and some sweet, smoky Spanish paprika known as pimenton. If you want to make a big batch, you can do it in a blender or a food processor, but we're just going to mix it all together with a fork and throw it in the fridge until we're ready to serve. I think another aspect of why this meal really ties into Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is that there are so many different elements for viewers to attach themselves to. Not only do you have Puss, Kitty, and Perrito going after the wishing star, and Puss trying to outrun death, but you also have a really beautiful allegory about found family being drawn by Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and another regarding the evil nature of hoarding power exposed by the main antagonist, Big Jack Horner.
Once I get my wish, I'll finally have the one thing that will make me happy.
Oh, well, what's that?
All of the magic in the world. For me, and no one else gets any. Is that so much?
Yes!
Agree to disagree.
Together, all of these threads reflect the fallacy of feeling like you need some magical entity to fix your problems, when in fact, all you need are the people who truly care about you. As the film details, without such companions or a willingness to give them space and importance to your life, you may end up swallowed whole by the very wish you've been chasing. On the subject of swallowing things whole, get your mind out of the gutter, for our last component, we are going to be putting together a kind of small bites arrangement. And we're going to put them all together on these swords because this dish is Puss's Spanish Splinter, named after his signature moved. You can also get some of those plastic cocktail swords that are a little bit more shapely and look like a sword, but this is pretty good. I like it. Start with a nice cheese base, add a little chorizo. This is also not a bad one to do with the kids if you feel like it, though don't blame me if they get stuck, poked, I mean. Though Puss does end up pulling out this move to defeat Big Jack Horner, when it comes to facing death, our favorite fearless hero proves to his enemy that life has a lot more value to him than it once did, and protecting his last life will now be his greatest battle. He knows it can't last forever, but while it's still under his control,
You will never stop fighting for this life.
considering Death was pretty much just interested in scaring Puss out of his boots, knowing that he no longer does kind of ruins all the fun for him. This leads to him ultimately letting Puss go, with one caveat, that is.
You know we will meet again, right?
Sí, hasta la muerte.
Like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, this tapas meal is a reminder that life should be an adventure filled with limitless options, but more importantly, shared with those who really matter. So bring together your favorite people, cook something special for them, and experience a journey that will take you far, far away, yet still shows real magic is a lot closer to home than you might think.